So you got that under contract and then you bought this other parcel. I mean, so this all kind of happened kind of fast from the sounds of it. Is that right?
It was, yes. We went from planning on staying at our previous home forever, then maybe trying to find another tract of land, just the hunting piece, to basically saying we're selling this place, we're buying something else within a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It was a big decision, pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it took us a while to sell our other house. So I don't know if you remember, because we listed it in early June, and that's right when the market around here anyway really started to take a nosedive. Interest rates were coming up. We still sold our previous house for 60 grand more than what we bought it for after 3 years. So it's a pretty good return.
Yeah.
But we probably could have got another 30 if we'd have listed it just a month sooner. I mean,
Yeah.
it was flying off the shelves before we listed ours, and then it just stopped almost dead in its tracks as soon as our listing hit the MLS. It was
Crickets.
just crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a great point to bring up, because everyone wants to quote unquote time the market, but you really can't. I mean, I feel like for your instance, you guys wanted to move, so that's your motivation. It's not trying to perfectly time the market and optimize every single penny. Like,
Right.
I don't know if someone can do that. Congrats. I can't. I can't predict
No.
that.
You've got to be lucky. I mean, we were lucky when we bought our place. We got into it pretty relatively cheaply for 30 acres and a house. 160 is a pretty good price, and I did a VA loan for that, so I didn't have to put any money down.
Oh, nice.
And that worked out. Nobody could have predicted the market was going to do what it did in the 3 years after that we would get that return.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way we sort of did time the market well, but nobody could see that coming. Nobody knows what next month's going to bring, let alone another year. So
nope, we can only just guess. And the other thing too, with your VA loan, I think that's something kind of interesting to talk about that we haven't. So I think some people would think, well, a VA loan, there's no way I could buy a house in acreage. You can. So explain maybe some things you learned with the VA loan.
So the biggest hurdle with the VA loan is, one, there's a lot of paperwork. For background, I did the VA loan first, and then on our second loan, I just used a local bank that I do business. My business banking goes through them as well, which was a whole lot easier. With the VA loan, they want an awful lot of information from you. They want your pay stubs at the end of the week for the whole time from when you go under contract to when you sell. They want to make sure that you're not going to screw it up. The home inspection's a big deal. It's got to be move-in ready with no issues. You can't tell them, the roof's leaking. You can't tell them, oh, I'll do the roof once we close. Like, no, everything has to be in 100% working order at the time of closing. And then probably the biggest hurdle with buying a house with acreage on the VA loan is the appraisal, because a lot of appraisers don't take land, or they don't know how to take land values and work that in with the appraisal, which I don't know why it's such a problem for them, but for whatever reason, they don't like seeing land with it, because it just throws up some sort of red flag to them.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing too, and this is just my experience with doing VA loans here, a lot of times the appraiser from where I'm at in the country is coming from like 2 hours away. And so they have absolutely no clue about the market. And so I always try to meet them at those appraisals and like, I'm not telling you how to do your job, but if you have any questions or you need anything, let me know, because don't kill this darn deal. Don't kill this thing.
You want to have some comparables ready for them. Just say, hey, here's how you can look at the land and all that.
Yeah,
ours appraised well, but it only appraised maybe 2,000 or 3,000 above asking price on ours. It was close.
That happens a lot. It really does. And for whatever reason, that's just kind of how that typically happens. That's just from what I've seen on a lot of them. And and honestly, I've never had a VA loan go sideways too. So I'm not trying to discourage anyone either. And so I think it's a great option, honestly, for a veteran.
I think it is, because what the VA loan really did for us is, obviously there was no money down when we bought our first property, and we ended up getting 10 grand back at closing because of the windmill thing. Yeah. And then when we rolled into our next purchase,
when you put no money down too, you guys have walked out nice with that.
And then we can roll into our next purchase here and have the proceeds from the sale of our previous home cover the down payment on the new property. So basically, I had to we put like 10 grand down on closing when we bought this place, but closing costs were 70,000, and 60 of that was covered by the sale of the previous property. So got into 85 acres with the house for 10 grand down basically out of pocket. So that worked out very well for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. One thing too, in terms about the VA loan, I'm not a lender, but correct me if I'm wrong. You could not have any income on that parcel, correct? So if you had tillable,
They wouldn't factor it in. No.
okay, yep. So it would basically,
You could, I mean, you could have tillable acreage there, but they're not going to factor that in for your approval.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, interesting. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about going from the VA loan and then to a local lender too. What that process looked like, or the pros and cons of each.
Oh, the local lender was very, very easy to work with. I was concerned because I had just bought the business within the last year, so I didn't have the work history to go along with it. But what I did have was the tax returns from the business that I bought, plus an up-to-date P&L and all the paperwork showing where I was at that point in the year. And then my wife's, she has her work history. But going through the local bank was very easy. I just sent them all my documents. All right, I'll get back to you tomorrow. They take it up the chain, talk to whoever they got to talk to, and say, yep, you're approved. Here's your pre-approval letter.
Awesome.
And I was asking them, like, all right, what else do you need? Let me know when you need it. I'm like, no, that's it. You're good. Just don't go and buy a boat or anything, until we close on this. But they were so easy to work with. And I had, you have your loan officer's number, and whenever you need something, you call him and he answers right away. It's not like using one of the big banks where you might talk to somebody different, or it's impossible to get a hold of your loan officer or anything like that. It's very easy, and I can drive down there and talk to him if I got to.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so important. I think that changes the process. And to be completely honest too, that's pretty awesome that they were able to let you do that with being newly self-employed too, with the brand new business.
I was pretty worried about it. If I didn't have, the P&Ls and showing the old business history and my accounts receivable, I had everything ready for them so they could see exactly, because it's hard to put a number on how much money you make when you run your own business. It's like, money's coming in, it's going out, but trying to forecast, what it's going to look like at the end of the year is pretty tough, especially in the middle of the year. But they took everything that I gave them, and I flooded them with everything that I had, and their guys looked through it and they said it was good. So
yeah,
I was surprised too. I didn't think that we're going to be able to make it work, but we ended up pulling it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the importance of shopping around and getting a good lender makes a world of a difference. It really does. I hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Jake Hofer, and I'm a real estate agent out of the state of Illinois, and it's my goal to help 100 people buy their first farm. Been doing that with the Land Podcast and clips like this every single Thursday and Saturday that are released here on the channel. And to be one of those 100 people, all you have to do is, if you're in the state of Illinois and I can help you, I'd be happy to do so. Number two, if you want to get connected with someone that can help you, reach out and I'll be happy to get you in contact with an agent that I would personally do business with. And the last one is, if you just simply learn something from the content we're putting out, or you get inspired to take action, I want to know, get you out of that spreadsheet. I'm on a mission to help 100 people. Until next time, see ya.